course, the Spanish-American crooner. And the croaky voice you're hearing at this end, that's the voice of Carl Orakwe. Yes, not the voice of your hey yo, what's up, Dennis? No, not that voice. And also not the voice of Constance. Yes, Carl here today, holding it down for, of course, the sunny side. Okay, now while I try to feel my way around, yes, we've got something interesting for you today. It's usually a Wednesday, so plenty to come on this segment of the show. A major conversation from now to the top of the hour. We're going to be asking you a question. You know, every time we always hear motivational speakers, we hear experts, you know, they always give us one quote or the other, or tell us one life-changing phrase that basically we should all stick to. We're going to actually take a look at one of such things said by experts today, and I want to know whether it applies to you or your thoughts, to know if it's actually true. That's what we're going to try to get from you. What are we going to be doing today? Asking ourselves today. Experts say not arguing or fighting in a relationship signifies a lack of interest. Yes, that's what experts are saying. And if you do not argue or fight in a relationship, it shows perhaps either yourself or both, either one party or both parties are basically not interested, you know, in that relationship. I'm not going to be alone in the studio as I actually take a look at that. I've got with me in the studio, yes, two interesting guests. First of all, I have Chinatarum Ogba. She's in the studios with us. I don't know if this is her debut here in the studio. Hello, Chinatarum.
Hi, Carl.
Afternoon to you.
Yeah.
It's your debut. Afternoon. It's your debut in the studio.
My what?
Your debut. This is your first time?
Yes.
Okay, so she makes her debut in the studio.
Not really.
Okay, not really.
Yes, I think I've been on Wazobia before.
Okay, now this is not Wazobia now. And also joining us, making for a crossover, we've got the very exquisite, so we've got the very vivacious Debbie of Cool FM. Hello, Debbie.
Hi, Carl. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Port Harcourt. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here.
Okay. So I'm going to be sampling the opinions of these ladies here in the studios. And of course, we're going to hear from you eventually. Now, you could do well to go to Facebook at Nigeria Info FMPH. Yes, we already have something streaming there. So you could take a look at the lovely ladies I've got here in the studios with me and also answer the question. Experts say not arguing or fighting in a relationship signifies a lack of interest. Do you agree? Not fighting or arguing in a relationship signifies a lack of interest from either one of the parties involved or maybe both of them, to be precise. So anyways, let us quickly dig into this now. I'll start off from Chinaturum. You're in a relationship, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. For you, I'm sure you're married for some years now.
13.
For 13 years.
Wow.
Okay. So just straight up. Now, this supposedly is like a research, and some people say it's now become something general and acceptable. When you do not fight or when you do not argue, that's when neither partner fight nor argue, that it shows that maybe one of them is not interested in that relationship. I wonder what you think or what you make of this.
Okay, just like we were discussing, the topic is a bit nuanced. It's multi-layered.
Okay.
There's not just one side that fits all. So, and I don't want to use my own particular situation.
Okay, no, maybe from your own point of view.
I don't fight. So how am I going to
say you don't fight?
I don't.
No. Okay, so if you don't fight, let me ask the question now. Yeah. Does it mean that you don't care? So anything, your husband should just win. That means you don't care.
No, that's not it.
So you do care.
I do care.
So why don't you fight? Why don't you guys fight, or why don't you guys argue?
I think because, okay, I think I will explain that later after Debbie talks. But for me, I will agree with them 60% and 40%. I will say no. They are not correct with the statistics that you have.
Now explain to me, when you say you agree with them, why do you agree or why don't you agree?
I agree with them because I think that most people don't have that maturity before they get married. And some people just start their journey when, after saying I do.
Yeah.
So then learn on the job.
Okay.
But some other persons, like me, we've been taught that your parents are the first marriage examples that you get. And so coming from that background, I don't see them fight. I always see them, they always quarrel. They can quarrel behind closed doors and we don't get to hear them. So it forms my own background and where I'm coming from, that I mean, you don't need to really quarrel.
Wait, you didn't see your parents fight or argue? That people didn't see that.
Them.
So, but do you think they never argued?
I know they argued.
You know they argued.
Yes.
So you see, it's part of it. That means there was some argument.
There was.
When there were things to care about.
Yeah, there were, but they did it in, I mean, very,
harsh tones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not harsh tone.
Hush.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Hush, yes. So when I got married, I thought that should be the way, and that should be the right way. So I think I had that maturity, and my husband also is very, very, very matured. So each time we have conflict, maybe in the night around 12, and then like, uncle.
Okay, so you see, that means there's conflict.
To discuss something.
So that means there's conflict now.
There's conflict, but I mean, it's not often.
Okay, so at least the relationship is not devoid. It's not perfect like everybody. Some people will try to paint. It's not perfect. There must be some conflict. There must be some argument.
There has to be.
I'm thinking maybe you're already letting credence.
I feel like I have a question for her, to be honest. Is it possible that your marriage has probably grown to the point where you no longer fight? Or perhaps when you started initially, you know how they say the first 2 years are usually very traumatic and full of problems and turmoil. Is it possible that, initially you guys went from being fighters and,
so
arguing
that's the point where you are now? That's
why
I don't want to use my own case, because my case is very, very, because from the onset, from day one.
You've never fought.
Don't fight.
Wow. An exquisite relationship.
Yeah. So I don't want to use mine. Because I know that even my own siblings have issues with their.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Chichi, don't confuse me here. That's when you say you've never fought.
Please don't use me by an example.
You have never fought, but you have just said at least there's some conflict.
So now,
that's what we mean. Arguments.
Arguments and fights. I think there are different levels of conflict. And so you can fight, but when you don't do name calling.
Okay.
You're stupid, you're mad. I've never done that before.
Okay, that's not part of it.
Anyways,
let me ask Debbie. Debbie, to you, what do you say? That's experts saying no arguments, not fighting or not arguing shows a lack of interest by either party or both parties. What do you say?
I think I want to agree with these experts, to be honest, right? Okay. Especially for relationships and especially for marriages. Mm-hmm. Two people coming from different backgrounds, you can expect them to always agree on different things. I mean, we have different opinions, we're raised differently. So there'll always be a clash, right? So I think I kind of get what Chichi means when she says they don't fight, but they do argue. And sometimes for some couples, it escalates into a fight, right? So the fact that couples fight, it happens. Yeah. And if they don't fight, if they don't argue, then there's really a problem. You should look into it. I think it may come from, constantly talking about it. I remember seeing a post on Instagram recently, and he was talking about the fact that the post was talking about
there's nothing more to
exactly. Yeah. So when you get to that point in a relationship where you're not fighting, you're not arguing, the kids are not causing any problems, you don't have to fight about finances. I mean, at that point, it's obvious that, maybe a dead end.
Okay,
to be honest.
Translate that. I mean, being tired. Sometimes we are told that if you never had to lie to a woman, to your babe, to your girlfriend,
I don't like where this is going.
If you never had to lie, it means that you don't really love her. Take note. They say if you've never had to lie, maybe there's a situation, maybe they caught you in a compromising situation, or you were supposed to do something, you didn't do it, and you just say, yes, I didn't do it, or yes, it was me, I was with her. If you don't lie, means you do not love that lady. I'm thinking I can marry this to this. It's saying you don't care. So making an effort to lie shows that you are interested and you do care.
I think there's not a straight answer when it comes to that one line, because lies are of different degrees, right? You have white lies where you tell a person something, or it's a little lie. It's not going to do it's not going to cause any harm. You just want the person. You don't want to affect the person's self-esteem. Yeah. You don't want to affect the way that they see themselves. For example, let's say my husband goes to get a haircut and comes back looking terrible. I'm looking at him like, what did you do to your hair, right? But then I'm like, no, darling, you look so good. You look good. You're handsome as always, right? That's a lie, but that's a white lie.
So it shows you care. You want him to feel good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So even for men,
but then there are malicious lies. So that's why we have to differentiate the type of lies that we're actually referring to.
No. I'm talking of a lie that basically has to save the relationship.
Defensive,
exactly. They just caught you. Maybe they saw, they saw a message from another, person on your phone. Then you now need to lie.
Yeah.
The man that does not lie, or even the partner that does not lie about it, means that person does not care
about the person's feeling. That's true.
So, Chichi,
and I don't
agree?
expect a man to tell the truth when you are caught.
Really?
So yes,
and also that means he shows he cares now.
Yes,
that's so well.
That's the truth. That's psychologically.
Yeah,
I will not expect you to go straight and tell me.
Actually, I was with this person.
If I now know that they have really caught me.
Yeah,
I mean, there's overwhelming evidence. That's the only time you now be like you're on your knees now, because you know that the game is up. So that's just it. I think.
But ironically, you'd find some women who say, I started to date this man and I loved him and I married him. One of such is my mother, by the way, because he would never lie about any situation. It doesn't mean that you don't catch it. Yeah. This is. Please listen first. And the reason why she said that was because she would definitely catch man in times where they were dating. You know, he had multiple girls frolicking around him. I mean, he's a fine man, right? But he will never lie about the fact that, this lady is actually trying to get close to me, or I'm trying to, And one of the reasons why he does that is so that he can be transparent enough to break off those unwholesome or unhealthy relationships. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's just different scenarios really would give a different answer.
So, though Chinaturuma had actually said she agrees 60% in favor of what the experts have said, and 40% maybe a bit. So the experts are right.
I think they are right.
The experts are right.
I think they are right.
Now, before I get the thoughts of some of our the audience now, let me also give some instances, because I'm here thinking, if both parties do what they are supposed to do, they were compatible right from the onset, there will be no need to argue, there will be no need to fight, and as a result of that, it does not show that they don't care about each because other, think of it now. Let me tell you one thing I know. Maybe
I highly disagree.
But you disagree? What do you mean?
Yes, I disagree, because I mean, you're two different human beings, compatible or not. There will be cases where you differ in opinions.
No, but
but you know how to manage it.
Yes, if we plan and we, for instance, we both know that we need to save for the kids' school fees.
Yeah.
Then if you are telling me now, that's maybe my situation. Let's say Debbie, you're the lead in here. And you're telling me we need to, for this Christmas, we need to shut down the town, take the kids out to the park, take them on a vacation. And I know January we need to pay school fees. We'll quarrel now. We'll argue. But if you already are reasonable and thinking like I'm thinking, there should be no quarrel.
No, I still disagree, because one thing I've learned about life is it is highly unpredictable, right? Certain scenarios will just come up that may lead you to a quarrel. I mean, it's going to be a boring relationship if you guys don't quarrel. Sorry, Chichi. Chichi. But I mean, like, relationships it has its own complexities.
I guess you are the one. People like you are the ones who are feeding these experts. People believe that
we like toxic relationships.
No, quarrels and arguments is what makes it exciting.
Yes.
Some people quarrel weekly. Some people quarrel daily. Some people quarrel monthly.
Daily is a problem.
And then some people quarrel once in few months.
Yeah.
Okay,
so the frequency will determine how toxic it is.
The results of this relationship sometimes are still the same. In the end, whether you quarrel or you don't quarrel doesn't mean that you don't care about each other. This is the truth.
Yeah.
If you don't quarrel often, it just means that you found ways
to manage situations.
Finish. That's all. You just matured and you know how to sort things out. Okay. Just an instance. If I tell you, don't do this, do this, and I keep doing it,
obviously we'll
now
get to the point.
I'll look at what. Okay, let me just give you a very funny instance. My husband likes to put on TV and start watching news, knowing that, okay, I'm going to sleep off.
Yeah.
And you know that if you have a 55 screen inches, your bill is running. And you leave it up
all night.
And I keep saying, oh, please just off this. Oh, please stop doing this. And he doesn't stop. Do you know, for me, it's a small issue. It's not something I should escalate. So all I do is I just go, turn it off.
Oh, you just turn it off.
Turn it off.
No, but hold on. I'm in the same shoes as Chichi.
Even if he keeps doing it, I don't care.
I've gotten tired.
I just turn it off. That's all. That's where the maturity comes in. Just turn off.
That will never be me. I would wake you up to turn off that TV.
I've gotten tired of saying that same thing for over 4 years.
So I can't do that.
No,
again.
so to me, I can't get it.
There's no need. Just sort it out.
That's
it.
It will never be.
That's where the maturity comes in. So it's no longer an offense to me.
Maybe,
all I do is
maybe I'm immature then.
turn off the TV.
Because I won't have to turn it off. If I've spoken about a thing
for 3 years.
Come on. You have to be an adult and listen. You have to face the consequences of your actions. And the consequence being you will be woken up from that sleep
But it
to
doesn't
turn
change.
off the TV.
That's
And then
the
if it
point.
results into a quarrel, we will have it so that change can occur.
And it's
That's the
not
reason why
happen
quarrels are necessary sometimes. So you see.
Okay. Anyways, time for us to drag you into this conversation of ours. Don't forget, it's 92.3 Nigeria Info, just in case you joined us not too long ago. Maybe not carry, please give us ours and tell us what you think. We'll love to hear. 817-923-0000. We'll take WhatsApp messages. The WhatsApp number is 0809 030 6416 at 0809 030 6416. I can see we have Okonkwo on the line from Rumokuta. Good afternoon to you, Okonkwo.
Good afternoon.
Nice to have you on the sunny side today. So tell us, do you agree with the... You're laughing, so...
Interesting topic.
Okay. Okonkwo, are you married or are you in a relationship?
No, I'm married. My marriage is 23 years today.
Aha. So you have experience.
Congratulations.
So tell us, when you don't argue, any relationship that does not argue or
quarreling
fight.
fighting does not show that the people, husband and wife, have interest on each other. I disagree. I say no.
Okay, you disagree.
Yes, and my reason is because there's a difference between marriage maturity and marriage immaturity. When somebody is matured, or husband and wife are matured, it means that they have the brain ability or marriage managerial ability to manage the cases and issues that arise in their family. They use marriage wisdom and understanding to handle their cases. Just like the instance you gave, if there is no money to pay for children's school fees, when the matter comes up, then with their maturity and wisdom, they will program it and say, let us take it this way, and let us handle it this way. And through God, it will work for them. Because coming to have misunderstanding might lead to the point of external bodies knowing that there is a problem in that family. So the theory that shows that they don't have concern for that, it was not a good theory or good.
So to you, it's just about maturity.
So I am of the view that when husband and wife are matured, there will be no quarrel and there will be no fighting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Okonkwo from Rumokuta with that contribution. We have Godwin Agwanwo via Facebook. Don't forget, we say you could actually watch and look into the studios. Look at what we're doing here. That's www.facebook.com/Nigeria Info FMPH. I've got Godwin Agwanwo. He says, good afternoon. Concerning this matter, of course, I do agree, because there's nowhere in the world where there's a perfect relationship. So in a relationship, if there's no argument or fighting, they won't know each other's wrongs. And in relationships, they disagree to agree. That's the fun. When it becomes, that's David's person. When it becomes bad, it's when they disagree and not settle. So that's Godwin from Alakaya. So to him, it's the fun. He says that's part of it. Wow.
Thank you,
Emmanuel Chukudike Fidelis says, yes, that he agrees with the experts. He says, yes, when there is no interest, there will be no need for any argument. Promise Edum says, of a truth, arguments strengthen relationships. Where there's no arguments in a relationship, it means both parties have no interest with each other, so there will be no need for arguing on things concerning the relationship. Now, we go back to the phone lines. I have the Real Gift calling from Port Harcourt Town. Hello, Real Gift. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Carl.
Afternoon to you, Real Gift. Nice to have you. So tell us, what do you think? Do you agree with the experts?
Well, let me greet my ladies. Good afternoon to you, my ladies.
Good afternoon, Real Gift. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Mr. Carl,
I'm listening.
if you don't go close to a palm tree, you won't know a kernel that is ripe on that tree.
True.
Argument it depends on the volume or the intensity of the argument. Because for one, I don't agree that because we don't argue doesn't mean we don't value the relationship or the marriage. Must we argue for every time now about to say they protect our marriage?
The experts are saying when you argue, it shows that you care about something, you have interest,
No, I disagree with them. I must not argue. When we talk about argument, like I said, the intensity
differs.
We might like this. Okay, let's assume we disagree on a particular issue. Is that argument? And we don't argue over it. Does it mean we don't love or we don't want to protect the marriage?
Well,
the thing is, just like what our lady said, when it comes to issue of marriage, different manuals for different marriage. You know, I don't go use my manual, can't give you.
So it's different for everybody, Abi.
Operate that manual. So
okay.
For me,
yes.
You see this argument, I disagree with them because there is every possibility that because people don't argue, doesn't mean they don't disagree. And for me, it's all about disagreeing to agree. Just like the message you read, it must not lead to argument. Don't forget, now from sleep, we they get slippers. And from argument, before you go no fight don't happen. Must we fight to show that
okay.
Fight, I mean, please.
The real gift, I get you. You don't agree. Let's quickly hear from Muriel before I come back to the ladies. Hello, Muriel.
Hi, Carl. Good afternoon.
Afternoon to you, Muriel. Your highs or cricket this afternoon?
Perfect.
Okay, so tell us, do you agree with the experts or you don't?
Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, Muriel.
Thank you. Well, I don't agree with the experts. We all know that in every relationship there must be disagreement. And that it will come to a point where you know, let me use a woman as an example. You already know that this man he lacks problems. No matter what you say, no, before you know, when there must be a disagreement.
The man likes to quarrel. Although I say usually women.
The lady, you know that this man, anytime he wants to take it to another level, you know where it will lead to already. So you just know how to avoid it. You know, you know that if I mention this one,
so when you're avoiding it, Muriel, you avoid it.
So in an environment like that, there will be no quarrel. In fact, when it is okay, I understand. Even if you don't want to agree, yes, fine. You know, that doesn't mean you don't love it anymore. That doesn't mean you're no longer interested. It just means that you have understood this man to a point that you know how to avoid. You know where it's getting to. So you just avoid it.
Okay, now quickly, let's say, yes, just
doesn't it lead to resentment? You know, because if I have a problem with the fact that my husband is very quarrelsome, right? He's always wanting to quarrel, and then I find ways to avoid it. We don't talk about it. I'm just agreeing. Are you just shutting down my feelings and my thoughts? Doesn't it get to the point where I start to resent the person and then I lose interest?
No, I'm thinking that's another issue. Yeah. The reason why you're being quiet and finding a way to manage it is that you're interested. So I think that's what the experts are saying.
So you're avoiding the conflict.
You're avoiding conflict.
Yeah.
No. I disagree. I totally disagree. Conflict is inevitable.
It's inevitable.
I mean, let's be honest. Anarchy is something in the world right now. We have different countries. There's anarchy. There's conflict. It's inevitable. As far as you have two people in a space, conflict ought to occur.
You say ought to.
Yes.
We live in peace and harmony.
Usually, hold on. Usually, when conflict is not occurring, most times it's one person letting go. Usually, and at the end of the day, it leads us to where that's the person. The person starts from caring, and then it gets to the point where there's resentment. And there's no more care. Because if you shut down my feelings constantly, I mean, it will get to a point where, okay, you know, whatever, just do you.
Let me ask Chinaturu. Now, you heard Muriel there. She says you learn to manage, so that may lead to a lack of conflict. So it's not as if there couldn't have been arguments or fights, but you've now learned to manage because you know what is.
Now, let me see. You know what she's saying? She has learned that she has learned her husband over the years. And let me tell you something. In relationship, when you argue, most times people want to have their way. They want to win. And that's when it gets heated up.
Yes.
But you're not communicating to solve a problem. If you're communicating to learn and you're communicating to solve a problem, you find out that your communication is
Chichi, let me put it that way. If I'm arguing, if for instance you're arguing because you see that this is the best course that we should take and you have stats, but now I'm your partner and I'm arguing blindly, you will keep on at it because You care because if we take this wrong decision, it's going to affect us.
Everybody.
Yeah. And so you're going to keep at it.
Of course. And of course, everything depends on the issue, depends on the gravity.
Of
like
what?
I just told you, the gravity of the issue is
so
what matters.
What do you do in a scenario where your husband is blatantly wrong, right? You can see it that he's wrong.
Sometimes,
right?
do you know that sometimes I allow you.
Let's paint Muriel, right? Was the person and then that is the way to go. I know the quarrelsome partner, he likes to quarrel, right? What then do you do? Do you still keep quiet and let him have his way and then make a decision that ruins the exactly?
Sometimes depending, as long as it's not going to be a colossal loss, maybe a huge amount of money,
you allow it be.
Sometimes I allow it to be.
Okay.
So that you will go down with that. You will go down with that decision, and then you will come back
risky.
Yes,
it might be a damaging one that you might not be able to come back from. Okay, depending on gravity.
Yeah, depends on the gravity.
Ernest from Wuji says, I'm sure the expert that carried out that research must have come out from a toxic relationship and terrible childhoods. I pray they find care and love.
If
you're always fighting in a relationship and you think it's love, then I'm sorry for you. Please, the call screener, let's take maybe one or two more calls. That's Ernest. Ernest says you need to find love. He doesn't agree. This one here from Clement Shemige says, greetings, Carl and the guests. Experts lied. Me and my ex constantly fight and argue. I got drained and exhausted after arguments. I felt like losing myself. That example, you see a situation where someone is seeing white and is calling it black. What we're talking about now. Exactly. And these happen every day, sometimes late into the midnight and early hours of the morning. I love harmony.
The show continues after this break. Talk Station. Welcome back to the show.
And I love tranquility and serene atmosphere at home or the office. Now, too many fights now scatter the relationship. Eventually, he says.
True.
Okay, I'll quickly take another one. This one says, good afternoon, Carl. I'm Willex. From this context does not mean physical exchange of blows. It could be disagreements, altercations, and differences in opinions. Yes, we agree. In my opinion, saying either or both parties are not interested in a relationship if they don't engage in fights is not very correct. Rather, I would say that any relationship devoid of occasional disagreements means that the parties do not really know each other well. Studies have shown that couples tend to know and respect each other more after a mild quarrel. Yeah. It helps it helps in their do's and don'ts. This is quite long. This is because there are people coming from different backgrounds, upbringings, orientation. It seems Debbie wrote this, and societal values. In some cases, different religions. And it's Willex that brings in that one. It's quite long. I can't take everything. Just take one more call. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, 92.3, sunny side. Who's on the line?
I agree with the expert because if you, through argument, both of you learn each other. Because not that argument of fighting each other. Sometimes when you are arguing, when you do somebody may do something like this, you want to try that your husband. And maybe the way the man acted and the way he acted will now bring that interest and love that, oh, this man, because the way you keep quiet in everything, the man will look at you as if you don't have interest. Or when you are talking, the woman is not responding to that you are saying. You look at it, the woman don't have interest in you. The way both of you argue and agree, that brings in love and understanding between both relationships. That's my argument. That is my
contribution. This is his argument. Yeah, it's on my mind. I know where you're coming from. I know. Well, guys, let's just quickly wrap this up. I see I get plenty of messages. Kodak Killer says, Debbie, apologies for that. Debbie, you think arguments are fun until it isn't, and it escalates into name calling and even physical violence. Akwi Monday says, actually, there must be an argument in a relationship. If there's nothing like arguments, that means one person is pretending. And absence of argument is mere friendship, not relationship.
Exactly.
Guys, so
even with friends argue.
Let me give you your final say on this matter, Chi.
I think if you argue too often, is a wrong signal.
It's a problem, huh?
Yes, it's a wrong signal.
So there can be, like they say,
arguments. It should be seldomly. If you are arguing every day.
Arguments and frictions are part of relationship.
Yes, but it shouldn't be a frequent occurrence. It means that you people are not understanding yourself very well, and your coping ability is very low. And so you need to work on it. If you work on it, it's going to get you into trouble, and it might terminate the relationship. This is the truth.
Debbie, your final thoughts on this?
Well, I think I want to agree with Chichi to say arguments shouldn't occur frequently, but they really should occur, because that's when you learn a person's boundary.
You saying they should occur.
They should.
You're going to say maybe if they occur is not a bad thing, but
no,
you're saying they should occur.
Let's be honest. Life is life. Life is what it is. Certain things can happen, right? Arguments will occur. That's why I said that they should.
Okay.
And you learn a person's boundaries, you learn their do's, you learn their don'ts, you learn what they don't like, and then you begin to merge properly from there on out. So to tell me that there are no arguments, I mean, let's be honest, it sounds to me like a really boring relationship. I don't know. Someone told me that arguments are fun until they start to curse out and say
arguments.
Okay. Okay. Now, just before we knock off, I'll say this one says, Carl, it's totally true. That's the experts. No maturity in such issues. Small quarrel must day if you like the person. And that's Don Dada from Umuebule.
Thank you, Don Dada.
That's the way we're going to end this. We'll see if perhaps we have some time. We're going to take we've got lots of messages. But anyways, you could go continue the conversation via our socials, www.facebook.com/Nigeria Info FMPH. For China Turum Ogba, thanks for joining us here.
All right, thank you, Carl.
And Debbie Cool FM, thank you for joining us here.
Yes, absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Carl.
And for you at the other end, thank you for joining in on the conversation. Yes, this is your point man, Carl Orakwe, filling in for Dennis. Hey, yo, what's up? I don't do that. So we're filling in for that. And we're going to have the news by 1. And after that, programming continues here on 92.3 Nigeria Info.